Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. I'll give you guys a second for it to load. Here we go, here we go. All right, so hi, guys. Hello, hello. I hope you guys are all doing well. Hello, Joe. We are just hopping on for a live. I just finished recording. I have all my tools set up. I have my big light there, my new bulletin board. So I wanted to share something. I had a conversation today with someone, and they shared a reflection that I have not thought about in a long time. So let me know in the comments as you log on who here is sober, so curious. Maybe you want to stop drinking. Let me know where you are in or on your journey. Next week, it's my 4-year alcohol-free date, which is very exciting. And the further along that you get, you kind of forget about some of the things that you experienced in the beginning. And this individual I just spoke with, he said that right now he knows that drinking doesn't help him relax. He knows it's not good for him. But at the end of the day, that's what he reaches for, because that's his programming is still telling him like, oh, it will help you unwind. Like, go ahead, have a drink, right? So there's so much, when we look at creating a change, you have to look at what your beliefs are and your habits and how those are keeping you stuck, right? And a big part of that is looking at your societal conditioning. Like, when you think about it, how many times a day do you see pro-alcohol messages? This could be in music, this could be conversations, it could be advertisements that you could see, it could be in TV shows. All around us, there are messages that glamorize drinking. There are messages that reinforce that you should drink to have fun, to enjoy life, and that it's a tool for stress relief. So when it comes to like removing alcohol, it can be hard to see what life can be like without it and to see how those benefits that are essentially shoved down our throat, how those are not true. And stress relief is a big one, right? We are told that drinking will help you to relieve stress, to feel better, but that's not actually true. So what we're going to do is, I just got this new bulletin board. We're going to work with it here. All right, so who here has heard about the polyvagal theory? I didn't hear about it until I was in my healing journey, and I've been a practitioner of different techniques for a few years now. So if you haven't heard of it, that's completely normal. But the polyvagal theory, it talks about ways you can work with your nervous system to help you to heal. And when I say heal, it's essentially to manage stress and manage anxiety without reaching for the quick fix. Ooh, a lot of marker there. So let me pull up my thing. Here we go. Okay, let me know as I'm writing. Can you guys see this, or is it kind of backwards for you? All right, you can see the bulletin board, right? Yeah, here we go. Okay, let me switch my camera around. Hold on. Ooh, how do I do this? Flip camera? No. Mirror video. There we go. Okay, we're good. Okay, so Bliss Room, happy you shared this. You shared alcohol does provide relief from anxiety and stress in the short term to pretend otherwise is different. So it actually does not provide any relief. It helps you to disassociate. So when you think about it, here we go. Okay, we're working with this side actually. Okay, so if you look at, can you guys see this? Yep, here we go, getting this set up. So, and okay. So activation. All right, can you guys read that? Yeah, you kind of can. That's the right way. Okay, so when you are stressed, what happens is we're in activation. So let's try to get this set up the right way. No, this is better. I'll stand over here. Okay, here we go. Learning curves. Oops. Okay, so when you're stressed, you are in activation. So any stressors that happen throughout the day, this could be having a lot of responsibilities that you have to take care of. This could be an important meeting. It could be having an uncomfortable conversation, almost getting in a car crash, there being traffic. All these things that bring stress are essentially putting you into activation. So when people are stressed, what they want to do is to find relief from how they are feeling, right? And our society pushes the quick fix. But drinking is one of them. Gambling, social media, all of these things are vices that we use to make things easier in the short run, right? I saw a post from another sobriety influencer that said, drinking makes things easier in the short run, but in the long term makes it harder. But when you're sober, things are harder in the beginning because you actually have to deal with the crap and the anxiety and stress. But when you actually face it head on, in the long run, it gets better. So when you think about that, when you think about wanting to have that relief from stress and anxiety, our society tells us that this will help you to relieve stress. It tells you that it will help you to, hold on. Here we go. Okay. So all our messages in society tell us that drinking will help you to relieve stress. But essentially what happens is drinking, if you're in activation, if you're stressed, drinking doesn't actually change that. All it does is helps to lower your awareness of how you are feeling. So if you're stressed, you come home from a day of work and you don't feel good, when you drink, it lowers your awareness of the stress and anxiety that you're holding on to in your body. But if you're not actually addressing the root cause, nothing is going to change. So that's why when you come home from work and have 1 to 2 glasses of wine, beer, whiskey, whatever you choose, you have short-term relief, right? But then you might wake up at 3 a.m. with anxiety, sweating, racing thoughts, tight chest, because what's happening is your nervous system is activated. It's been activated this whole time. But drinking just helped to lower that awareness of it. So when you're stressed and when you're overwhelmed, when you reach for a drink, your nervous system is still activated because you're not addressing the root cause. So when you stop drinking and when you realize it's not helping you make the changes you want in your life, you will have a lot of old programming that you have to deal with. And this is where I see a lot of people get stuck, is they believe it will help them relieve stress, but it doesn't. But for decades, they have been told these lies that, yes, have a drink at the end of the day. It will make you feel better, maybe in the short run, but not in the long run. So when you stop drinking, it's really important to educate yourself about how alcohol actually affects you, right? And reinforce pro-alcohol-free messages. Start to surround yourself with other people on social media, other books. Do reading on scientific studies to actually learn how it affects your body. And the more evidence that you can have to prove to yourself that being sober is better, that being alcohol-free makes you feel good. The more that you know that there are healthier ways to relieve stress without booze, when you have that understanding and create a new belief system that helps you to create the life that you want, that's how you can create change. So it's really important as you move forward just to be so aware of what your thoughts are, because your thoughts, we're going to sit down, hold on. Your thoughts create your reality. And I'm going to flip the camera too. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. Okay. Your thoughts create your reality. So if you believe that stopping drinking will be hard, that it will be boring, that life will suck, if you believe those things, then not going to lie, I thought that's how sobriety would be as well. Because in my mind, the only people who stopped drinking were boring. Those people didn't have a life. They suffered, and it just wasn't fun. They didn't have any friends. That's what I thought it would be like when you stop drinking. My life, almost 4 years now, alcohol-free, is the life I've always wanted. And I thought that's what drinking could give me. But turns out, what gave me the life I wanted was stopping drinking. Because when I was drinking, I was falling into patterns that didn't serve me. Oh, thank you very much. I was not showing up as my best self. I wasn't taking the steps I needed to take to build the business I wanted. I wasn't spending time on my mental and emotional health. I wasn't prioritizing my fitness or my relationships. But now I am. Now I have that space and that mental clarity to focus on what is important to me. Last year, my husband and I spent 3 months in Europe, a dream of mine. People normally don't get to do that until retirement. I just turned 30 and we're traveling Europe for months at a time. And we're going back this September again. So the life I have now, it's the life I've always wanted. And I was able to get that by being more intentional. And stopping drinking was not the end destination. It was just part of the journey. So if you think about the life that you have now, is this the life that you want? Are these the relationships you want? Is this the success you want in your career? Is this the health that you want? Or do you want something more? And if you want something more, you have to be willing to put in the effort and take the steps that are required of you to create that change. And for so many people, removing the obstacles that are keeping you stuck, drinking is a big part of that, right? It's a huge thing. It's a pillar habit that once you remove it, so many areas in your life improve as a result. So when you think about your life right now, you have to take agency over it. You have to be willing to look at the hard truth and actually ask yourself, okay, is drinking serving me? Is drinking giving me the life and the relationships that I want? And if it's not, you have to commit to making that change. And when you do, and when you commit to doing something different, you'll have a different life as a result. You'll have new opportunities. You'll be a new version of yourself who can create the success, relationships that you've always wanted. Because stopping drinking is not the finish line. If anything, it's the starting point. Because once you remove that, you'll then realize like, oh, there are other things I have to work on. For me, removing drinking helped me to see that I have no idea how to process my emotions. Crazy, right? So I had to learn how to manage stress and anxiety. I had to learn how to deal with the hard parts that weren't pretty. I had to learn how to feel uncomfortable and how to get through it instead of coping. That was a huge thing. I had to learn how to find that confidence from within. Going sober or being sober in social situations, you learn that there are some insecurities that will come up that you then have to deal with them. But when you actually give yourself the opportunity to deal with what you need to work on, that is the first step. Because without that awareness or without that space to actually do something different, you'll stay stuck. And it's like a Groundhog Day. You'll keep going around and around. And you'll think, I want this life to be better. What if I just stopped drinking? Or what if I was happier? That what if is your intuition telling you that there's something better for you out there. And in order to figure out what it is, you have to remove the obstacles keeping you in the way of that growth. In removing drinking, a big part of what it is just awareness. It's awareness of how you're actually feeling. It's the awareness of what you actually want. It's stopping, getting out of the matrix and saying like, what do I want from my life? Not what do my friends want or what do my family want? What do I want? And you need that clarity. I am the only one in my family who has my own business. My grandpa, the other day I was talking to him. He's like, I have no idea what you do. I do not understand it, but I can tell that you're happy. My parents, I think, now understand what I do. But it's still like, it doesn't make any sense to them. I have created this, I paved this new path for myself that is different than all my family members, than most of my friends. And I have been able to do this. It has been so damn hard, but it has been worth it. And by being brave, by putting myself out there, by being uncomfortable, by being willing to feel like the feelings of being uncertain. By doing that, I was able to create this new path. And drinking keeps us stuck. Drinking keeps us complacent. Drinking keeps us, it dims our light so we don't reach our full potential. And the more that you're able to see it as something that keeps you stuck, more than something that makes you feel alive, that's when you're able to gain that clarity. It's knowing that you don't need it in your life. You don't need it to have fun. You don't need it to enjoy yourself. You don't need it to have adventure. It actually does the opposite. Everything that you are looking for is on the other side of drinking. Thank you. Congrats on 4 years. Thank you. Thank you. Do you have a yoga ball? Those help with boredom. So I've actually, starting yoga was one of the things I picked up when I stopped drinking. I don't have a yoga ball at my house, but I love to lay on it backwards and just kind of like hang out there. I do that in the gym quite a bit. I've gotten into strength training lately, and whenever I'm between sets, just exhausted, I just lay on it, and it is wonderful. Okay, do you believe in Jesus Christ? Oh, that's a good question. So I grew up Catholic, and I do believe there is a higher power, but this journey in sobriety I've taken a step back from organized religion and taking time to figure out like what that means to me, right? And I think it's really important to have some type of faith, whatever that means. But I've realized like the faith I grew up with, I was only practicing it because I was forced to. And I do want some type of faith for me to practice and just to be more, it's a guiding post, right? It helps you to come home to something, to have that clarity. And I'm still looking for what resonates with me. But right now, in the last couple of years, something that has been huge is more mindfulness. So more meditation, more breath work. I haven't been to any organized functions with that, but I'm starting to find spirituality like from within. And we'll see how that progresses, but I'm still kind of learning that or figuring out what that is. Okay, Roaming says, in sobriety, I lost all my old relationships and it's okay. Actually, I think that's a good thing. When you stop drinking, it is a massive shedding process. It allows you to release the things that are no longer beneficial in your life. And when I say that, I know it can sound kind of harsh when you talk about relationships, but it's important to realize that some relationships are supposed to be in your life for the whole book, others just for a chapter. And when you hold on to relationships for longer than you should, it is not beneficial for yourself or the other person. So when you get honest about, okay, is that relationship beneficial and supportive for who I am now and where I'm going? If you can be honest about that and share that reflection with the person, that can either help you take the relationship to another level and go deeper, or you can realize like, okay, I'm entirely grateful for you, for the contribution that we've had in each other's lives, but I know that we're not meant to be in each other's lives anymore. And having that understanding, but also the grace and the love for the other person and loving them enough to release them is one of the best type of relationships you can have, because you want the best for them. And you might not be the best friend for them right now either, and that's okay. So when you allow yourself to release those relationships, it gives you space to make room for more people in your life, or new people who are more aligned for who you are now and where you're going. And it also gives the other person the opportunity to find that relationship as well. And when I stopped drinking, I knew some of my relationships, amazing people, but I realized like, okay, we're on different journeys now. I was trying to hold on for dear life. I'm like, no, I can't let them go. And it creates so much anxiety. And like, eventually there's just that natural falling apart or that fading. But I tried to hold on for way too long and it didn't feel good. So with every relationship, when you focus on yourself and doing the things that are important to you, like when you stop drinking, you'll prioritize your mental health. your emotional health. You'll work out more. You'll spend more time in nature. When you do that, you'll start to notice when your friends are kind of on a different path, and that's okay. Because the more time you invest in what's good for you and what fuels you, you'll find more people who are on that same path. So there's a natural shedding process and evolution that happens when you honor what you need. And I think it's so important with any relationship to first focus on the relationship you have with yourself. Because when you do that, that's when you can become the friend that you want to be. And you can only have those friendships in your life that you want when you first become that friend to yourself. Because like attracts like. My mentor shared that with me, and it sounds simple, right? You want this type of relationship. You want this type of friendship. So you first have to become that version of yourself in order to attract that type of friend. So when you put the focus on there, that's how you create that change in those relationships. You focus on yourself first, and as a result, you will naturally attract those relationships in your life. And it's really important to have patience. So my husband and I moved to North Carolina in August of last year, and we didn't know anyone moving here. And at first I'm like, oh no, I have no friends. All my friends are back in Nashville. Why did we move? I kept asking him, I'm like, we were so happy. Why did we move? But we both knew we wanted something new. We wanted a new adventure. And we have started to make incredible friends here in our new house or our new home. But it's been a slow journey. And I'm realizing that it takes patience. You have to be willing to go through those uncomfortable seasons to allow relationships to naturally progress. And they will, right? They will happen for you, but you have to give it time. And what I've found is these relationships that I'm starting to form that I'm so grateful for, they're a lot deeper than other ones have been because I am showing up as a different version, which allows me to attract someone who's similar. So just something to think about. But I know it can feel lonely, and sometimes it's just where are the friends? And in those times, call up your good friends, hang out, or FaceTime people who live in different cities. But knowing that you have to have patience, but when you have that patience, good will come. And just trusting that it will. Okay. Rubilicus, I think that's how you say your name. You said, know where you're drinking that much. So I was a weekend drinker, right? I like to go out on the weekend with friends, have fun. It was a social thing for me. And I noticed the years leading up to me stopping drinking, there were some nights where I drank more than I wanted to. Sometimes I had a hard time stopping once I started. But if I had something the next day, that was never a problem. If I had to drive home, I would maybe have half a beer and I would nurse it for 5 hours. Or if I had an important work meeting or something like that. So honestly, that's why at first it took me a few years to actually stop drinking because I'm my drinking is not that bad. But it was the collateral or the after effects that started to become bad. It was that guilt or anxiety after drinking too much, questioning oh, what happened? That anxiety. I was diagnosed with depression. Drinking didn't help that. I was unhappy with my life. I was in a corporate 9-to-5 that I hated, and I was so unhappy, but I didn't know I could do anything else. So drinking helped to distract me from that. So things just kept adding up, and drinking was never at first it was fun, but the end result was never positive. So it was that just consistent thing that was kind of just gradually making my life worse. And I stopped drinking when my coach, she's actually a business coach, she told me, asked me, are you open to the possibility that drinking is getting in the way of the life and relationships that you want? So that's a really important question to ask yourself. And I was yeah, I could see that, right? I felt at that point I started a business. I was in the relationship space. And I saw some success, but it just wasn't clicking. My relationships, I was dating my now husband, and he's amazing. We have an amazing relationship, but I realized my relationship with myself wasn't as good as it could be, because when I was drinking, I wouldn't trust myself. I didn't follow through on commitments to work out, to prioritize my health, and I wasn't prioritizing what I needed, right? And my mental health was not great. So there's not like one limit where you're like, oh, this is the amount that I have to stop. And yes, alcoholism is a very real thing. But for so many of us, it is a emotional and social crutch. Drinking is a toxin to your body. No amount's good. And when you think about it, our society makes us believe that we need to have it in our social life to have fun and as a way to deal with emotions. And when you're able to remove that and to realize that you don't, things can get better. But it's honestly, when you're able to see stopping drinking as a tool to help you to improve your life, that narrative, I think it's so much more beneficial. And our society is becoming more open to that, especially as more science comes out that proves that drinking is not healthy, not even one glass. But when you think about stopping drinking, just flirt with it. I call it flirting with being alcohol free. Give it up for like a few months and just see how you feel. And when you see it as removing something that's keeping you from like the goals you want or the health you want or success, when you see it as that will help you stay committed, because it's not about stopping drinking. It's about the life that you can create when you remove it. And that's what it's all about. I do believe I could go back to drinking and be fine, but I don't want to. I see what my life is now, and I'm wondering, I'm 30 and my life is freaking amazing. How good can it get in the next 2 decades? I want to see. And I know that being sober, alcohol-free, is one of the biggest tools that I have to help me to show up as my best self and to learn more about myself. So I don't want to stop. I'm curious, right? Emotional intelligence is huge. It is huge. And in our society, we're just not taught how to process or be with our emotions. And it's so simple. This is what I help my clients with. I'm a private coach, and I help them to learn how to be with their emotions, to work through them, to surf the waves of life. Because when you learn these tools, everything can change. Your relationships, your success, your health. Everything is based on your ability to show up. And when you can't process your emotions, when you have to numb or distract yourself from feeling what you're feeling, that impacts you in so many different ways, and it limits what you're able to do because you're spending so much time and energy just trying to avoid what's there when you could just get through it, right? So talking about like emotions, it can feel hard at first to feel them, but then it makes things easier down the line. And a post I read from another sobriety influencer said, drinking is easy, but it makes things hard in the long run. When you're sober, feeling emotions can feel uncomfortable at first or hard, but in the long run, things get better. So think about it. Would you rather just approach something now, face it head on, get through it? Or would you rather push it down the road, let it grow, let it get more intense, let it amplify, and deal with it when it's more intense? And that thing that you have to deal with, you'll have to face it at a time that's not convenient for you. It will show up one day, and it will be when you're super busy at work or with your family, and it will cause you to stop. If you don't stop and look at your emotions, something big will happen until you are forced to stop and deal with it. And that's not what we want. We don't want you to hit rock bottom. When you're able to just stop now and deal with it now, things can get better. And they don't have to be awful. They don't have to get out of control. But when you realize that thing that you're avoiding, the anxiety, the guilt, the shame, the disappointment, the wanting for something different, that thing that you're holding on to, it's not going to go away until you deal with it. There's a saying, I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. Woo! Allergy season. There's the saying, what you resist persists. So if there's something that you know you have to deal with, it is so much better to face it head on than to wait another 1, 5, or maybe 10 years or more, because one day you'll have to face it. So you might as well do it now, right? Okay, so absolutely. Wow. Okay. I'm so happy you guys are all joining me. 1 year sober. Nice. Well done, Bill Glass. I always laugh how when I'm on Instagram, the names are like someone's name, like Jim Scott. But on here, they're like funky names. Okay, awesome. Okay, so Samuel, a beer a day is good for your heart. No, it's not. When you think about what's good for your heart, the benefits that you can get maybe from beer or wine, you can get those benefits another way and not have to deal with a toxin that you're putting in your body. And when you're drinking alcohol, what happens is your body first prioritizes removing that toxin from your body. So it shuts off digestion, right? So let's say after a meal you have a drink, you feel kind of bloated or backed up. That's because your body is trying to get rid of that alcohol. When you drink, the benefits that you are receiving are not better than or worth the toxin that you are putting in your body. And those benefits that you want to get from drinking, most of it's BS. Most of it is big alcohol selling us this lied so we buy more, so we consume it, so they can make money. The benefit you can get from red wine, you can get that from a glass of apple juice, right? Or not apple juice, grape juice. So when you think about that, what benefit are you actually getting from a glass of beer? What is that actual benefit? You can get that without the toxin. Roaming 604, self-care is the best care for you and even for others. Yes, it is. There's that saying, don't pour from an empty glass. I know it's cheesy, but it's true. If you want to show up for your family, for your kids, for your spouse, your friends, you first have to show up for yourself, because until you show up for yourself, you won't have anything else to share or to give, right? So you have to start with yourself first, so then you can pour out to others. Okay. White grape juice is my favorite. Bill Glass is your real name. Look at that. Okay. Love it. Question, birthday club music. I don't think that's your real name. What do you think about the 12 steps? AA has never been anything that I've wanted to do. It works for some people, but I have had no interest in doing it. So I just haven't. In this journey, you have to find what works for you. For me, I went through private coaching and I loved that. And now that I've stopped drinking, I just simply don't have the desire. And the thought of sitting in a room once a week, hearing people tell stories that might be kind of disturbing or extreme, doesn't feel like it would support where I am or be something that would interest me. But take that with a grain of salt, because everyone has their own experience. For me, the rooms I am putting myself in are with other entrepreneurs, other people who are focused in mindfulness and healthy stress relief techniques. I'm focusing on where I am going and the version of myself that I'm stepping into, and surrounding myself with those type of people. So think about that, and also think about, is that environment something that would inspire you to create a change? Because talking about not drinking keeps the focus on not drinking. When you think about and surround yourself with people who are sober, living life, happy, they're enjoying it and showing you how fun it can be to be alcohol-free, that environment and that energy is so much more motivational and inspirational, and that will move you to where you want to go. So just some things to think about. For me, I'm just free of alcohol, right? I've done the work I did with my mentor, and that's why I am a coach as well. Having that deep dive work, removing my desire to drink, finding healthy ways to manage my emotions, doing that work was fundamental for me where I am now. But now drinking is just not a thing. So focus on what you need to help you move forward, and also focus on surrounding yourself with people who have the result in life that you want, They can help you overcome the roadblocks, and they can help you see what is possible for you, because you first have to see something to believe it. If you want to start a business, you surround yourself or look at people who have created success in the online space or whatever type of space you want to start a business in, right? Same with stopping drinking. If you want to stop drinking, follow people or surround yourself with people who have the life that you want without booze, who show the energy that you want, who have the happiness, who have the inspiration, the creativity. Find those people, stay as close to them as you can, get inside their world if you can, learn how they think, learn how they show up. And when you do that, that will help you do what you need to do and take the steps that are necessary to create that change in your life. So that's what I think. Okay. Oh. No thanks on AA for me. AA works for me. Okay, awesome. So yeah, AA works for some people, and it's really important that whatever you choose to do, you honor your journey. You honor what is best for you, because only you can decide that. And part of stopping drinking is having the agency to choose what is best for you. And that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do every step of the way. And as long as you are honoring what you need, that's the most important thing. Okay, perfect. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to run. I have to go to the gym. Yay. But thank you so much for joining me. And I have a book out. If you guys want to hear more about this, feel free to click on the link in my bio. You can check it out. I dive into my story of stopping drinking and how you can do the same, and some tools that I use that you can now use to have that same success in your journey. All right, guys, thank you for listening. I hope you have a wonderful night, and see you next time.